Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1964 Volkswagen Type 1 bus easy camper. Behind me is a 1.6 liter air-cooled flat 4, and down below is a 4-speed manual transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this bus for many reasons, but mainly the fact that this is so incredibly iconic. I'm filming it here in Southern California, and I can't think of a better environment to share this vehicle with you here today. It is such a joy, and I am so incredibly happy to be behind the wheel. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 1.6 liter all the way out at the back. Well, originally this would have come with a 1.5 liter, however, it has been upgraded to a slightly more powerful 1.6. It was always a flat 4, it was always air-cooled, and so it still fits the charm and feeling of the bus, however, it just has that slight more pep in its step. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed manual transmission. It is a very direct transmission. The clutch grabs about a centimeter off the floor, and the shifter is incredibly stiff. So it is quite the workout to drive this thing mentally and physically. But once you get the hang of it, it does certainly have that charm. Last but not least, of course, the camper van is rear wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the Volkswagen bus? I've wanted to drive one of these forever and ever and ever, and the honest answer is not great. You sit up above the front wheels, so it's kind of a cab over feeling. The suspension is cushy enough, but all of the inputs are very stiff and unforgiving. That part of the bus is not very joyous. Actually working it, it's a little bit of a labor of love, but it's a labor that I'm going to do every single day because the vehicle itself, the ethos of the camper van in total is just so jolly and happy. And we'll talk about that later, but it just is so freaking fun. The drive isn't great, but the experience is wonderful, if that makes any sense at all. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Zack and bus versus highway on-ramp. Here we go! More power! Third gear. Come on, 35, 30, 40, 45, 50. We're doing it, baby. Oh my God, the steering is very twitchy at 55 miles an hour. Okay, I don't love that. You know, the American road trip, you know, would be great in one of these, but at the same time, it would not be great in one of these. I'll stick to a modern vehicle. Oh my gosh. All right. That's it. We're good with the freeway. Oh, there's things rattling. I don't know where from or where to, but here we go. I can't tell. Okay, my turn signal's off. All right, down into third, rev matching a little bit. There we go. Things calm down. Below 40, this is a beautiful, beautiful ride. But above 55 is hair-raising, to say the least. Oh, nope, give me second. Come on. No second. Okay, I'm not getting second gear. All right, we don't get second gear today. That's kind of a problem. We'll take third. All right, third it is. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 1 gauge. My speed. That's all I have to worry about. And honestly, you don't really have to worry about it in this because it doesn't really go that fast. On the steering wheel, I have nothing but the horn. Yeah, that's pretty good. Off to the left, I do have a fuel gauge, as well as my wipers on an unlabeled button. And moving on to the door, we have some vent windows, our slide window. You can see here, you pinch and slide. pinch and slide, pinch and slide. So that's very nice. And moving into the center, we have an ashtray up on the top of the dashboard, some venting, our hazard switch and headlights to the left, hazard switch to the right, a shelf, an aftermarket radio, and on the floor we have the parking brake and shifter. No cup holders found here in the Type 1 bus, to be expected. The bench seat is pretty bouncy and cushy. I really enjoy that part, but unfortunately, for 1964, that means no seat belts. So you are held in by the door, the roof, and prayers. Not ideal. However, I do want to talk about up above me. I do have some interesting things. So previous owners have added compasses and altimeters and things like that. But there is on the ceiling an air vent, and it actually pulls cold air from the front of the vehicle either into you, or you can twist the knob and it'll send it into the back seat, and it moves air. It is very, very functional and very good at its job. However, the part you guys have all been waiting for is the back camper, so let's go talk about that. All right, so let's talk about the camper back here on the bus. So a lot of these were camper vans, and you could get the Westfalias from Volkswagen that were already kitted out as camper vans. However, that's not what this is. So this vehicle started its life as a panel van that a plumber would buy, or an electrician, or something like that. And you could kind of tell because these windows are a little bit more crude than a typical Volkswagen bus. And that's because it was done by a company called Easy Camper. So you would buy one of these for cheap, bring it to Easy Camper, or Easy Camper would source one for you and build it into this. This is a period correct. It's been a camper since day one, but it is an aftermarket camper rather than the traditional Westfalia camper from Volkswagen themselves. So there's a bunch of differences with that, but a very, very cool piece of history because it was expensive to buy a Westfalia. And so the camper craze was so huge in the 60s that everyone wanted in, but not everyone had Westfalia money. So they would go and get it done aftermarket for a little bit cheaper. And you could see where they saved a little bit of money. Turn this here and this opens up all the way, and then we come in here, pull this up, and this comes all the way out. So there you go. That's a good view of the open camper. We'll hop in here in a second, but this is actually a fold-down stovetop, so we can fold this down. Sort of hangs by a chain. There are grates that go on this as well, and in here there's a propane bottle. You put the propane underneath. Now you can cook dinner on the side of your camper van. Very, very cool. We have a little table here that comes up. You could prepare your food, cook it right there. We have a cabinet that opens over here. This cabinet opens up as well, some extra storage. We have a drawer here for some information. Very, very cool, some spare parts as well. And then this looks like a refrigerator. It's actually a cool box. So you would open this up, put a giant chunk of ice in there, and then you would keep your items cool for a time being. It's basically a cooler. But what's very cool is that these are all original stickers from the original owner, and so they are probably 50, 60 years old on their own with the stickers. Very, very cool. Obviously some linoleum flooring, and coming inside here we have, of course, our bench seats. Absolutely love this. Tons of headroom as well. I could sit here, I could sit upright. I'm 5'11", and I'm not even coming close. So if you are even taller, you could fit back here. Now, these seats have been reupholstered, but these armrests are original. So that is the original fabric. The owner tried to match the fabric as best he could. I think he did a pretty good job given the circumstances and the fact that it's been 60 years since this fabric was used. So very, very cool. We have our curtains as well. We have our opening for the side windows. So you can crank that open, get a nice breeze coming in, or crank it closed. More curtains. We have storage under here. So pull that up. We have tons of storage. And we can pull up this table. And there's a leg under here. There you go. Now you have a place to eat in the back of your camper. You can collapse the leg and collapse the table as well. Coming over here, we can also, well, first of all, we do have some added storage and things like that. Very, very nice. But if you pull this forward and lift this up, it's hard to do one-handed, but pull it out, and there you go. You now have a bed in the back of your camper. We do get another shelf up there. Those speakers, I assume, were added more recently than originally, but there you go. Look at this bed. You can now sleep back here. Absolutely love that. And then pull this tab up, and that converts it back into seats. There you go. That is the back of the 1964 Volkswagen camper. Absolutely love that. If we come around the very back, you can push this in and pull, and you do get a little bit more storage back here. Obviously, this is like sort of the back half of the bed. Open this up, even more storage, things like that. Love to see all of that. I'd rather be at WODC, William O. Douglas Outdoor Classroom. Very, very cool to see that. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and although this is missing its bumpers and hubcaps, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's exactly what you think of when you think of a Volkswagen bus. Maybe you think of it probably in a lighter, flowerier color, but this is it. I mean, this is iconic of the iconics. Of course, the 18 window is going to be the more famous version, but honestly, at the end of the day, you're driving a Volkswagen bus, so you're doing pretty well. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving now, finally, a Volkswagen bus? Well, I love it. I really, really, truly love this experience. Is it fun to drive? No, but it's a very fun vehicle. I think this is just such an awesome piece of motoring history, right? Like, this mobilized an entire generation of people right as the road trip was starting to boom. I mean, the idea of seeing the world from that back camper is just so great. And honestly, I have a little bit of firsthand experience. Not that I've taken this on a road trip, but this is a big long shoot day for me. I filmed 7 cars here today in San Diego, and we took this bus to go get lunch. It was about a 30-minute drive each way. We got some shawarma down by the ocean in San Diego. It was 4 people, and we were driving. Here's a little clip from our way to lunch. And we all have phones. We all have devices. We all have things we could have been looking at and doing. But because the camper was there, our buddy Dylan was in the back, and he was right next to us talking. I was riding passenger, the owner Ed was up front, and Jack was in the very back. Because of this car's layout and design, we were all together sitting and talking. It was more of a conversation pit than an automobile, and it was this wonderful experience. And like I said, we all had phones. None of us touched it. For over an hour, we were sitting, talking, chit-chatting. It brought us together. This bus brought us together. And that's what it's done for the last 60-ish years. And so yes, phones are a problem. There's many, many problems with today's generations and technology and things like that. But I think something that's overlooked is the overall layout of vehicles. If we just brought the seats actually closer together, we would have more conversations. We would feel more camaraderie. We would make more memories together in our automobiles. Yes, this is cool and it's a camper and all of that. But I think if we just got a little bit closer and had something that made the moment feel more special, we would have more person-to-person connections. That's what this bus is able to do. It gives you legitimate FaceTime, not the app, but the actual in-person memories. And that to me is so special. I will not only never forget this bus, but I'll never forget that lunch. Taking it down by the water, enjoying this vehicle for its intended purposes, sitting in the back, setting up the table. That's what this thing is all about. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Ed for letting me take out his camper. This has been absolutely wonderful. It's been a wonderful day. We have filmed a bunch of Ed's cars, Dylan's cars. Jack came along with his Geostorm. It has just been a wonderful California day, and that is all thank you to Ed and Dylan for setting up this review. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.